Hello, hello. Hi, guys. It's been ages since I've done one of these and I miss them. I'm bringing them right back. I'm going to do a series of Thursday lives speaking to incredible women whose work inspires and motivates me. And this is the first of the new series. So, welcome. Today, I am going to be talking with Laurent. She is absolutely incredible. Like, I've been looking at her page. I met her the other day live at a panel that we were both on, and I just really resonated with her philosophy, and I was just inspired by how vulnerable she was happy to be about her journey, and about some links that she's made between some of the things that has happened to her on in her early years, and just the awareness was just like, and I had to invite her to come up and have a conversation. So I'm just going to invite her to the stage. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So lovely to see you. Hey, hey, hey. So I am going to bring her up. Yes. Right into this conversation about well-meaning but traumatizing parents. Yeah.
Hi,
Hi Laurence, comment tu
Comme-
vas?
ça va et toi?
Oui, ça va bien, merci. Très bien.
Super.
Oh, lovely to see you. Lovely to have you. I'm enjoying your curls.
Thank you. I decided the other night to wash my hair and I just curled them up and now they're all nice and fluffy and out. So it
Yes.
was nice.
Yes. Gorgeous. I love it.
Thank
I
you.
love it. So, as I was saying in my intro to you, we met on a wellness panel seeing Queens of Sheba at Soho Theatre. And
Yeah.
I just found your energy, the way you were speaking so candidly about your vulnerabilities and how you've been on this whole journey to kind of integrate certain aspects. I just found it really inspiring. So thank
Thank
you
you.
for joining me. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome and thank you for having me. I think these are important and necessary conversations. Healing is something I deeply believe in and has helped me a lot and my clients as well. And it's such an honor to be here and share stories and hopefully having solution as to how do we move with grace in life? How do we move with ease, joy, grace, abundance on so many levels? It is very possible. And so I'm really happy to engage and having that conversation with you and everybody this evening. So thank you.
Mm. Thank you. I love the way you speak, and it is a grace. You know, you had to be quite self-compassionate and yeah, giving yourself space to do that work.
Yeah,
But let me get into this conversation. So
let's get
first of
in.
all, can you tell us a bit about your work? So yeah, how did you how what kind of work do you do? You mentioned your
Okay.
clients.
Yeah, it's I do so many things. I am so many things. I am an auntie, I am a sister, I am a friend, I am a therapist, I am a doula, and I am a holder of sacred space for women and children. And overall, I would say I do a work of service for my community and for myself. So I am a therapist in body work, neuromuscular therapy, aromatherapy, but I also incorporate the idea of ritual and the idea of treating the body at the temple and a place of worship, where we really learn how to listen and uh, and be aware and realizing how expansive we are as human beings. And so really holding people in a place where they can really feel their fullest potential and appreciate their grace and their beauty and their intelligence, the intelligence of the body. So in a
Mm.
nutshell, this is what I do.
Mm, yes. And it's so important. So that's why our work is aligned. I also work with women holding space to have the mess, is what I call it, because
I
we,
love that.
we because we don't have the facility in this society. It's not really it's not available to us readily, but we need it. And actually it's quite harsh to just be like, we don't want to deal with that stuff. We just need you to do this, this, and this. Produce, clear, serve, and that will be it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the work that you're doing with the body and slowing down and really listening deeply, and as you say, just caring, that nurture, honestly, especially for our community, especially for Black women, not necessarily exclusively, but I mean Black women, we need it. We
Yeah.
need it. And
Yeah.
so I thank you for your work. I thank you for your service. It's
Thank
so,
you.
so important, so noble. Okay, so how did this journey find you?
I actually became very unwell. I was very ill myself, and I decided to go to university because I wanted to understand my body and I wanted to find a way to deal with my illness. And it's been an incredible journey. I didn't go into the degree thinking I was going to become a practitioner. I just wanted to collect tools so I could heal myself. And then all of that actually happened. So, yeah.
Wow. Do you know what? I feel like pain is the best teacher. Like crisis, it'd be nice if a lot more women were on the front foot with their healing and did it before rock
Yeah.
bottom, but very often it's rock bottom. I know it was for me,
Yeah.
the
It was.
same journey I got diagnosed with high blood pressure at 27.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You've
Too
got to
young.
pick yourself up. You've got
Yeah,
to
it's too
pick yourself
young.
up.
Too young, but I'm
Yeah.
really grateful because that set me on a journey of I need to be really conscious of the environments I allow myself to be in. I really need to be conscious of how I am, what energies I'm allowing. I just had no boundaries. Like you could
Yeah.
be, I was like a dumping ground, I didn't mind. I was just happy to have some, nice relations
I know.
regardless. There was no
I know.
standard.
I know that too well. I know that too well. And before you know, you're completely depleted and there's nothing to give.
Mm.
And yeah, I came to a point where I was like, nah, that's not how I'm gonna carry on.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it's a huge, huge investment on self. And it takes a lot of courage because as you may know, I'm sure you're aware that the healing path can be so messy and so uncomfortable. Um, but when we take the courage to actually do that, we create wonderful things and we manifest amazing things. So yeah, it's really good to be here and be vulnerable in that way because guess what? There's a lot of power behind it. When there is an understanding of where all of these stems from, which I guess is what we're going to be talking about this evening.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you have a problem, that you can't hit crisis point, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whatever brings you to this place of, okay, I need this right now, which is what happened on my journey, and
Yeah,
exactly what happened on your journey. What you then start with is building the awareness, and some of the stuff that you're unconscious of really, really is alarming. And okay, so let's get into this conversation. So that's why you'll notice the title of this workshop is Well-Meaning but Traumatizing Primary Caregivers or Parents, and
hmm,
how that kind of forms your imprint and you don't necessarily realize how much it is impacting how you then relate in your adult life. So my question to you is, talking about parental trauma, why do you think this is such a taboo subject from within the culture to start off with? Why do you think people are a bit like, I don't know if we should be going here. I'm not sure if I'm ready
mm,
to claim this as something that is mine, because there's a lot of resistance to people, even with having real bad experiences, real resistance to going there. What
yeah.
what is that?
I think, I mean, I could give my input on it. I think there is a lot of fear. There is this idea of blaming and the guilt. And also sometimes we've painted this picture perfect, family life, and we said that everything was okay. And we created those stories because that kind of allow us to survive. We don't want to look at the darkness or the very uncomfortable stuff because it threatens what we have sometimes. Even if what we have is mediocre and not great, sometimes it feels safer to protect what we have because guess what? It's doing okay. It's all right. And so we stay in that place. There could be other stuff as well, culturally. I come from a West African background and you don't question people who fed you or gave birth to you. You don't actually dare to even raise the attention that maybe something could have been done differently. You don't dishonor that. And so I can understand how it can be taboo. But I truly think that it's not about blaming, and everything we're going to talk about this evening is not about blaming. It's about finding a place of understanding and compassion. And because we are our children's parents, when we actually allow to do this for ourselves, we do it for them too. They don't always realize that, but when we dare to ask questions and understand where things are coming from, then the healing we're doing for us, but we're doing for them as well. And I guess if maybe there was an understanding of that, we would be having more open conversation and would be able to be in a place of forgiveness, maybe forgiveness ourselves, but at least a place of compassion. And this is what has worked for me. And this is what I see working in a lot of my clients in my practice as well. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
You
more or
did.
less.
You did. You touched on a few things there, and I think they're both separate but really powerful. The idea of protecting what you have, even if what you have is not great, it's this fear of the unknown. So you have this, you know, you literally, this is what I have, this is what I understand. The devil I know is,
Exactly.
but it's more scary, the concept of, breaking open what is this cocoon of familiarity, even if it's hell. It's a hell that you know and understand. So by
Exactly.
going there and saying, actually, that wasn't okay, that wasn't okay, that wasn't okay, that feels very destabilizing.
Yeah.
So we can understand why people don't want to go there. And then you mentioned so eloquently, especially children of the diaspora, this kind of unquestioning, like, absolutely, if you're older than me, you have my utmost respect. And, if you fed me, well, then I must wash your feet daily. And regardless of what you say or do, that I don't question you. And whereas there's certain things I love about the culture, like I love this culture of respect, I love the way we greet each other, but actually I think this unquestioning, the way that we don't hold our elders to account, it means that we abuse is in the stitching as well.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing to say, because obviously our culture is so sacred and we owe
Yeah.
so much to it, but the idea of accountability is so crucial,
Yeah.
and we're lacking in that department.
Sometimes we are. And that it would be, the thing is, addressing this would just make everything so much richer
Yes.
because we've evolved. I don't live in West Africa, I live here, and I've been to many places, and that made me such a greater person to be exposed to so much beauty and diversity. And so if only they could understand that having those conversations and addressing these things would make us so much greater. And I'm seeing it in my family. There is a little bit of things are moving along. But me personally, that's how I'm going. It's very important that I am true to myself, and I never betray myself ever again. So if I have my truth to say, regardless of how uncomfortable it may make somebody else's feel, i.e. my parents at times, I'm just going to honor myself and stick to it. Yeah.
Mm. because you can honor yourself and say things with kindness. Again, you
Absolutely.
mentioned in the beginning, this isn't about blame. This is
No.
about trusting that you are worthy of having your truth and expressing your truth. And sometimes that's not what we are taught. Sometimes we are taught to sit on that truth if it's not appropriate, or if it's not,
Mm.
you know, and then that truth then lives in the body. If it's an
It does.
uncomfortable truth,
It
it
does.
sits there, and if you don't deal with that, it will fester, and that's when we have health issues, you know. this this
Exactly.
this suppression of things that are not sitting well with you, but you dare not express it to the person that may have caused it, or said something, or has treated you in a certain way that now is no longer acceptable. If you don't express that, then it lives in your body, and then over the years it can develop into whatever, you know,
It often does. It
mm,
often does. And that's why I love the body so much. And that's why it is my priority, because it never lies to you. It
mm,
absolutely never lies to you. And I think when we come to a place when we can truly listen and honor ourselves, honor that body that feels so much, things transform. And they transform drastically and very, very quickly. It doesn't even have to take years.
mm,
Um, but often when there's illness manifesting, you haven't listened for a long time.
yes.
And I guess that's how my work is, that's where we start. What is the body saying?
mm,
What
mm,
is the body saying right now? What belongs to you? What doesn't? And how do we move forward? How do we make decisions that reflect what we want and who we are truly?
mm, mm. I can see Soul Sister here is saying the body never lies to you. Ashe.
Never.
Ashe, true. And Sabrina is agreeing, true. She misses your healing hands. So it just
Yes,
goes.
Sabrina, I'm seeing you on Friday.
Yes, yes. So, and Sabrina's inspired me. I need to come for book into some appointments, because you know
Yes,
the journey is the journey, right?
of
It's not, you don't
course.
get to this place of I'm done, I'm fully baked now. It's the more
Yeah.
there is, the more there is. But you know, it becomes you know, the more unfolding, the more layers. It's a beautiful process, you know. So it continues. But Laurence, I want to get into specifics, because I felt that when we did the panel together, you were so willing to share a personal experience, and I really felt that it helped to ground the work, and you gave people permission to. I almost felt a sigh of relief within the audience, because you know, it's a really hard thing to admit. Yeah, this hurt me. This is what I normalized when I was a little girl, and this is how it's showing up for me now. And really hard to not only gain the awareness but express it to strangers in a crowd, but it's so healing. So I want to
Mhm.
get into that a little bit. So how have your parental relationships informed your life and your life choices so far?
Well, I don't mind sharing what I shared during our panel discussion, because it's been a theme that I've recognized, and once I spotted it, I've managed to turn things around. And so the particular theme that I was talking in the panel is the relationship that I've had with my partners. I haven't had many partners, but the quite serious one that I had ended exactly the same way, where when we were together, it was absolutely amazing. And then all of a sudden, there was either ghosting or abandonment. And then there was a child. And then that's it. I was out of the picture. And it was about that new person and that child and that new family. And that happened about 5 times in my life, exactly the same pattern. And then when I got to my mid 30s, I was like, this is it. I want a family and I want to be respected, and I don't want this in my life anymore. How do I change things?
Mm,
And then I really had to travel back into my childhood and understand where this had actually started. And And that's when, you know, I was like, it's all started with my father. Very charismatic character where I was with my father and I was a daddy's little girl. The world was turning shiny and it was, you feel like the center of the world. And then once my dad would have a new partner, then I would not exist anymore. It would be the partner and her family. And there were often very mean women that didn't treat us very nicely. And so that first relationship that I've had with the masculine, which is at home, which is with my dad, the first person that broke my heart was my dad. And so by looking at my childhood, at the same time, I could forgive myself because I didn't know better. That what was given to me, that was my reality. So coming to adult life now and looking at all this situation, I was like, I don't want this anymore. And I recognized I actually didn't know what love was. I didn't know what love was. I didn't know what being supportive meant, felt like. And so the first big heartbreaking lesson was to realize that I didn't know what it was to be loved and supported in that way. And it was very important to understand that because the way I would move forward now would change. The way I would pray would change. The way I would ask for what I desire would change. But I really had to identify that being betrayed, being lied to, being abandoned, being ignored had nothing to do with love. Had nothing to do with love at all. And once that was established, that gave me some form of clarity as to how to attend to myself and my healing. So my priority was to really look after myself. So I really dived into receiving, may it be massage. I am surrounded by beauty in my home. I love plants. And I tend to my plants the way I tend to myself, with a lot of tenderness and care. So the best place I could start and have control over is how I would treat myself. And I realized that by doing that, it started reflected back into my life. The quality of my friends that would come forward. And even the quality of men in my practice would actually change. And I would notice these things. I would not take it for granted. And I didn't ask for that love to come yet because I didn't know how to recognize it. And then in the way I prayed and asked for things, because I pray a lot. I pray, I've got my altar, I've got my rituals. I am big on prayers and what we say. And so I asked the universe or God, Goddess, send me a surprise. Send me a surprise and send me love. And the reason why I would recognize in love, because it would be very unfamiliar. It would be like nothing I've experienced before. And it will feel amazing. And that was the prayer. And I kept on holding that prayer. And my entire life changed. My entire life changed. The way I would work with my clients changed. I'd have a lot more compassion to myself. And then understanding my dad's life story as a child, I could hold compassion for his inner child too. And now I'm not saying that I'm really not the kind of therapist that will say you have to forgive your abuser. I'm not on that level at all. The person you will forgive is yourself. Okay? Because I didn't do this action thinking I'm going to teach her a good lesson and she's going to become a better person. No. You chose that. You chose that. And if they behave that way, they need to attend to themselves too. They need healing too, as far as I'm concerned. So I really had to really look at myself and turn the lens inwards and take responsibility for my feelings, because those 5 men were different, but the only common denominator was me and my feelings. So I had to look at myself, and I'm not victim blaming here, don't get me wrong. By doing that, I could find the compassion for myself and I could choose differently because I understood where I was coming from. I was like, I didn't know better and I wasn't aware of what it was going to be like, but I was very excited about the surprise that I was going to receive. And I would
Mm.
recognize it because it would be like nothing I've received before. And trust me, that's how it has been ever since.
Wow. Wow, I can see a lot of comments that are thanking you for sharing and, you know, talking about you developing self-love, practicing, ritualizing yourself. So beautiful. So, Laurence, you have touched on a few things that I just want to cycle back and speak about. One of the most powerful things is just this responsibility that you are taking on, because I think there are different phases where you genuinely feel like, you know, you were a young girl and, you know, disappointment was a big part of your life, because although
Yeah.
they're like, you know, everything going bright and your dad being like, oh my god, this amazing person, also being let down has become part of your emotional cycle, you know. And for a little girl to know disappointment is really, it's a really hard one. And one path could be, I'm a victim of that. On one hand, you know, it wasn't your fault, but what you're saying, and I think this is what I think is really powerful, and I really want everyone to hear and take on board, is just this responsibility where you're saying, okay, so that was in my imprint in terms of what my understanding of love and relationships were. It was like whirlwind disappointment, and that's
Yeah.
what you manifested 5 times. But
Yeah.
instead of what your healing journey has taught you is that through all of that, you're not saying I was with 5 really awful people that treated me like this. You recognize that I'm the common denominator, so there's certain aspects in me that needed to be healed because I was a match to that. And
Yeah.
that's not blaming yourself. It's not blaming
No.
myself. You're finding compassion within that and you're loving yourself through it, but you're recognizing that your part, that you, because it takes 2 to do the dance, right?
Absolutely.
So on some
Absolutely.
level you were participating in this game of, oh my god, it's amazing, and oh my
Yeah.
god, I feel so bad. And it can be energetic. I don't think there was a part of you that was consciously pushing these
Absolutely
guys
not.
away and disappointing yourself,
Yeah.
but it's just the responsibility, which I think is just so powerful, because it can be really easy to sit in the victimhood, to sit in that place.
Yeah. I really didn't want to be at the mercy of life and these situations. It came to a point where I was like, I knew the body quite well, and I knew he was speaking to me, and I knew I wasn't listening most of the time because you're in your head all the time, and there is this habitual, these things that I know since I'm little, and these euphoric feelings. And I was like, no, no, I did not want my life um, and the way I feel to be by default sadness and struggle. I was tired of that. I was tired of the default, and I didn't know how it was gonna change because it was a completely foreign adventure. I didn't know how it was going to do, but I was very clear that I wanted something different. And the only thing I could do was look after myself.
Yeah.
On a physical level, on an emotional level, I've got an amazing mentor. I've got an amazing body worker therapist that looks after my body. I've got wonderful sister friends that are great cheerleaders, and that really nurtured me and fed me to the point where energetically the frequency just changed to the point where, yes, that everything was just very different. And I've got a beautiful, beautiful partner that
Oh,
is
wonderful.
absolutely amazing. And, you know, I will start my family. There is respect. It's completely different. It's like, I know it is what it is because it's like I've never had before.
Mm.
So, but I wasn't doing that on the quest of having the partner.
Mm.
I wanted to
Mm.
genuinely have a good life, feel good
Yeah.
about
Mm.
about everything,
Yeah. Oh,
about everything.
I love that there's a happy ending. I love that you can speak and that there is, you know, you can speak on the results. And, you know, like I say, it's not necessarily so results orientated. The journey is the gift, right? Um, but I relate, I relate from, especially in London. Dating in London was challenging. And if you're coming from a place of having very low self-esteem, and for me, my parental relationships were challenging, in that my mum was very much she worked and she did everything for us, but
Yeah.
she, in terms of the nurturing side of things, she wasn't available for that, because she was too busy getting us, looking well presented and fed and where we needed to go. So we wanted for nothing, but we were, she was a very domineering character. So, and I noticed that was my understanding of how a family worked. That was my normal. So I had no expectations of men. I was just like, well, in terms of me, I know that it is just me. I need to be fully, completely, utterly self-sufficient, because I have zero expectation of being taken care of. And that was just my normal. It's only recently that I'm just like, oh, so, I'm supposed to depend on someone? What the hell is
Yeah. But that's the thing. I think, and with my mommy was exactly the same. When she left my dad, she had to start working for the first time. And for them, at the end of the day, if there was food on the table, you were clean and fed, that was their success. And and yes, it was in their time, and I am grateful for that, because they did what they could with what they had at the time. Now here we are with all these tools and choices. Here we are, have this great opportunity to look at ourselves and choose to do things differently. And that is absolutely amazing, despite all of that. And I really want to urge, I would say, Black women, because there is this archetype of the strong Black women. Sisters, you can let that go. You are strong by default, because you're here. You're here with the past that our mothers have had and what we're still going through now. You are here by default. You're strong. And I really hope that you find a place within yourself to allow that tenderness, that help, that support, that nourishment that you deserve. Because I really believe that the earth is our heaven, right? I always say that the earth is our heaven. We deserve to have a very good time here.
Right?
We deserve to have a very
Right?
good time here now.
Right.
And so I really want you to give yourself permission to actually demand that.
Absolutely.
And the good way to start doing that is by giving it to yourself first.
Right. Absolutely. That's so beautifully said. And we have to realize our privilege in having that level of consciousness, because that wasn't our parents' experience.
No.
The idea of being like, well, I deserve pleasure, I deserve to enjoy right now. Like, honestly, so much of what has been handed to us is suffering is part of life. You have to sacrifice, and suffering, pain is part of life. That's no, there's no doubt about it. There's no yin without yang. However, it's not, I feel like this idea of pleasing yourself is quite new, in the sense that the generations before us didn't get the privilege of being like, I'm doing this because it makes me feel good and because I want to, and that needs to be normalized and okay, and brought much more into the culture, because I feel like self-sacrifice, especially for women, has become a barometer of how good you are as a woman, like how much you sacrifice for your family. And I would like to flip that on its head and say, if the more you pour into yourself, the more available you can be to be the nurturer that I know I needed when I was a little girl. I know I want to be, and I'm still working on myself, because a lot of my mum's traits of working, I have to really work at being carving out specific time for being a mum, and you know, being present in the now, because I can work and I love it,
Yeah.
and I love that I've adopted that from my mum. But it can tip over into, you know, I have to consciously create the woman that I want to be, and heal from a lot of the stuff that I carry in my body, in terms of the emotional deficit that, with all love and respect to my mum, that I was seeking elsewhere because I didn't get it at home. And that's where that I was talking about, you know, low self-esteem made me a match to pretty much, you want to be my friend, great, come on, you know. And it was that's the issue. I always looked pristine, I had everything I needed, but that deficit in terms of, you know, that real grounding in who you are, the emotional work, the emotional nurturing, that there just wasn't the bandwidth for.
Yeah.
I really have to work at being available to nurture my relationship, because I've now adopted this very go approach. And what's beautiful about the healing journey is that having this awareness of, you know, having to build my self-esteem up brick by brick by brick through
Yeah.
the rituals that you are talking about,
Yeah.
through the self-love journey, through the daily habits, through the mantras, through the spiritual work. Queen Afu was one of my mentors. You know, I read her book, I met her, I did a lot of, and then I, you know, went and did my MA in facilitation, and you know, the arts world has really helped heal me and build awareness. But now I can use that to say, do you know what, I choose different. So exactly the same as you say, I don't want this, I don't want to be an open door, I don't want to be clasping at any love that comes in my direction and be available for it. I need to really ground myself in who the hell I am,
Exactly.
and set some boundaries, and really pour into myself so that I
Yeah.
can craft the woman that I want to be, instead of just live from my trauma.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back and see some comments, because there's been some really incredible things that people have written down. I can see Jen here has written, the process of moving from that victim space is challenging by uncomfortable, but so necessary and freeing.
Yeah.
Ashe, Ashe, that's why I had to go circle back, because it's such a beautiful point that you were making. Like
Yeah.
that leap from being like, this happened to me and I feel bad, to this happened to me and I'm going to heal from it, and decide on who I'm going to be.
Yeah.
We've got Mama Africa saying, you deserve to be loved and treated with respect, utmost respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Honestly, once you key into that, and is you want, and you know what you're worth, you become a match to that once you have got set it in your sight. So respect, you know, loved, it should be, it sounds obvious, but it's not always, if that's not
It's not,
your experience.
all you have to do is look at what is reflected back at you.
Yes.
And I want every woman who is listening to this evening, do you know that if you're good, the world is even a better place? Do you know that if you're good, if your cup is full, everybody else around you is better? You're not taking anything away from anyone
Mm-hmm.
by attending to your body temple.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself a try and tell me. You'll see. Look at the state of the world today.
Mm-hmm. It can be seen as a radical act, you know, this self-love. I know through all the drama, and 2020 was a lot for everyone, but actually I used it as a real incubation period. And I felt like, it sounds counterintuitive, but my focusing on me and being in my home and slowing down and listening, and baths and oils and incense and reading and community and speaking and sharing and healing and working, it really felt like a radical act to build myself up and speak and share. And you know, that was my act of resistance. Resistance doesn't always have to be with a picket
Pushing against.
fence, especially as Black women. Us empowering ourselves is radical. You know, it's
And
a
it shouldn't
radical
be, right?
act.
It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Like I said, we're all children of the earth. We all belong to have a very good time here. But I guess past history has just left a weird seed inside us, and it's really about cracking that and decide differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Mama Africa, you deserve to be loved unconditionally. Self-sufficient means I don't want you to worry about me. Yeah, this whole that's why, and I think there's a big conversation at the moment, just kind of trying to cast off this strong Black woman archetype, and I think it's really, I think everyone is kind of in on the discourse where it's like, miss me with that. That's not. That's a trap. I see you're
Yeah,
actually dehumanizing me with that. Yes, I
yeah.
am strong, as you say, by virtue of the fact that I'm here. I am strong, but that, don't use that as an excuse to now.
To neglect me,
Yeah, yeah.
because yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. It's nice. And I was having that conversation I was doing a retreat in Benin, and we were having dinner around the table, and then one of the facilitator was telling me that, oh, but you seem to have everything together. So in order for you to be with somebody along those lines, you probably need to kind of play it down a bit. And I was like, no, I don't,
Mm.
actually. No, I don't. I'm not going to play dumb so somebody else can feel more comfortable. They're going to have to level up to where I'm at. It's not my place to pretend that I did struggle, but most of the time I had to do it by myself. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm not okay to make you feel more comfortable.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So there is that balance as well. And that's why I said people need to check themselves. Where are you at? What is it that you're trying to project on others? Because ultimately, the way you treat people is the way you treat yourself. So I'm always encouraging people, check yourself. Where is that coming from?
Mm. Yeah. 100%. I think it's really interesting what you mentioned, this whole idea of being one foot in traditional and one foot in modern, like being self-sufficient and independent and capable, and how that kind of has a bit of tension with this traditional idea of femininity, and you know how that can sort of affect relationships, especially if you are, because I'm a modern woman, right? I'm a modern woman. I really enjoy working. I really enjoy being empowered, and I like to speak my truth.
Mm-hmm.
But that I'm also, there's certain, I love traditional things. I love
Yeah, that
culture.
doesn't mean.
So there's a kind of birthing of a new, which is a kind of hybrid model. But then sometimes you do get people that are genuinely like, if you want to have successful relationships, you kind to lean into your femininity. You,
But what is it though? What is it really?
mm,
It's all a construct. I want to be able to experience my full humanness here on earth. And I want to be supported in that. I don't have to choose. How about, I'm honoring myself fully, and somebody could be completely okay with that. And I'm not just talking about relationship, romantic, like lovers relationship. I'm talking about all of our relationships.
mm.
Can we be our full selves? Can we
Oh,
really be
yeah,
courageous enough to live that experience in the fullest and just have the freedom to fully express who we are without censorship?
right. Oh, what you're saying is so, so powerful. Can we be our full selves?
Yeah.
Because actually, trying to squeeze ourselves through this prism of femininity, let's sacrifice. Oh, you're a bit too strong in that area. You're going to need to, like, why would we dumb ourselves down?
Mm. It's all control. It's a very patriarchal thing. Control what you don't understand, right? That's why the birthing world is controlled. That's why our cycles need to be controlled. That's why everything that makes us these cyclical creatures, women, has to be controlled, because there is a mystery that is not understood and can never be controlled. So we have to create it. We have to make it a problem. We have to medicalize it. We have to pathologize it. There is absolutely no defect in being born a woman and functioning the way we do. It's actually a privilege. It's magical. And a lot of it belongs to the mystery. But we live in a world that is trying to deny us that and say that it's nothing, it's not a big deal. Listen, sometimes I want to say, don't you know who I am?
Right? You know what I mean? I create life.
And so much more.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not a lot to ask to be supported. Amen. Like, just support me in being my full authentic self. Don't
Yeah.
ask me to dim down to, because, and here's the thing, I want everyone to know that your adverse childhood experiences, whether it is a well-meaning but traumatizing parent, or whether you really went through a traumatic event, none of that has broken you. You are whole. All of you is whole. And actually, I really have love for, you know, the stuff that I had to go through, because it's made me who I am
Yeah.
now. So I can say that my authentic self is a version of me that has to come through the trenches. Okay,
Yeah.
so I am who I am. I'm not going to deny that any of that happened, or that I had to go through a journey, and that the woman I am today, I didn't look or feel like this 10 years ago. You know, I
Yeah.
had to really work on myself. I had to
Uh-huh.
really educate myself. So being where I am now, I'm now not going to say that, oh, all of that happened, I need to erase it, and I need to, you know, be this picture of femininity in order to be a perfect partner. It's all of who I am is making me whole, and it
Yeah.
allows me to give empathy, and it allows me to be an excellent practitioner, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel like
Exactly.
that's my gift, because I love working with women. I love being able to choose my community and select who I'm gonna work with. I'm gonna take on this healing journey. That's one of the privileges. You know, some
Yeah.
people that didn't have adverse experience either in childhood or in workplaces. I know a lot of Black women especially struggle in, you know, certain work environments, because it's not cut out for us. I hear so much of this story of, I want to set up a side hustle, or I want to become financially independent because I'm in a toxic work environment, or I'm being triggered here and there. And, you know, there is a real kind of movement towards people wanting to set up their own, so that they can exist in an environment that doesn't feel detrimental to their health. I'm just hearing it a lot now.
Mm.
People are owning up to uncomfortability.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I just feel like I really appreciate that that's the journey that I've been on. Like, I work for myself, I choose who I work with, and it's really a powerful privilege. You know, I'm grateful to be able to do this work, and I owe my trauma my journey. I said, you know, I have a lot to thank the difficult times that I've been through, you know.
And you should.
Mm.
You should. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should definitely. And that's why, like you said, you can hold people in those spaces because you've been there.
Yes.
You've been there. And I feel exactly the same. I wouldn't change anything because I quite like the person I've become. And yeah, similar to you, I think that's why I am a good practitioner and a good holder of space, because I've been to many places,
Mm.
you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, similar journey. Mama Africa is asking, what do I practice as my work? I'm a holistic coach and facilitator. I run group sessions or one to one, but I really love the group. I feel like putting Black women together, or women in general
Yeah,
together, and holding space, and as I say, having the mess, but also delving deep, working with your subconscious, and excavating what's lurking in the shadows, and allowing that to strengthen and empower you, instead of expending so much energy trying to keep it down and trying to
yeah,
keep up the mask. It really weakens you.
totally.
Inauthenticity weakens you, and authenticity is, set us free. Listen, Laurence, I just find you so, like, you're in your skin, you're in your body, and
Thank you.
that's why it's a joy to be around you and see the work that you're doing, because, as I say, your existing gives us permission to be more of ourselves.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're feeling that way. It means a lot. It means
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. So yes, she's authentic. Jenny is agreeing. So often as a practitioner, you feel like, yeah, I've been there or here before, so I know what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, it helps. It helps, and you also know that each story is individual. So
That's it. It's the I think sometimes it's not that we know someone's story, but because we came to a place where we could accept ourselves fully, we can accept and hold people fully as well. And that is without any judgment or preconception. We see the person fully and we can hold them as they are. And it's quite magical when that happens, because the world is telling us different. The world is telling us there's a problem with us. The world is as like, generally in my practice, I'm like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you right now. It's all about looking at how you want to take your life now, from now on. Okay, we can appreciate what happened in the past. Yeah, we can look at your journey, but what do you want now? What are the possibilities? What is your body saying? So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I totally agree. It's very much about integrating the parts of yourself that you want to keep hidden. Like, I love shadow work. I'm big on shadow work,
you
and
too.
big on inner child work, and looking at those parental relationships, because
Yeah,
there's so much rich material, and it's about how deeper you go into the knowing of self, and how much you can integrate the good and the bad stuff that you've been through to into your now, into your full being. you know that's why we're saying, if we're going to dim ourselves, we're saying, if we're going to be, nicer and more feminine and less capable in order to be in relationship with someone, it doesn't make sense. It flies in the face of all of this integration work that we're doing,
of
all of this
course.
awareness, and understanding how actually that adverse experience empowers me.
It does. And then when you do hide yourself like that, you're going to meet somebody that will be exactly the same. They will give you half of who they are, part of who they are, but they're not going to be the authentic self. So, um, and then if you do hide yourself and if there's no clarity as to who you are, then you have no clarity as to what is in front of you either.
mm, mm,
So the choice is yours.
Ashe, Ashe. Okay, Laurence, we are coming up to closing. I've got a couple of extra questions for you.
Yeah.
So penultimate question is, why is the healing journey so important? I know we've touched on this, but if you can summarize it. We looked at the how women can do it, but why is it so important? What are the benefits?
I think it is important because it gives you more choices as to how you want to move forward. Um, it gives you more ease, more understanding, and more freedom. in a nutshell. There could be so much more, but that's what is coming up for me. Choices, freedom, ease,
Mm,
clarity,
mm,
um, acceptance,
mm.
but mostly choices because we can choose to do things differently.
Yes.
Yeah, we're arming ourselves to actually do things the way we want.
Yeah. So powerful, because so much of the language that I hear when I'm speaking to women is I feel stuck. I feel really
Right.
stuck. I feel like I don't have the choice. I have to keep getting up and going into this job that I hate. I have to keep taking this disrespect from this person. I have to keep doing this thing that upsets me, but I must, and what this work does is just,
It opens everything up. You never need to betray yourself again.
mm, self-betrayal is, and the thing is, if that's your norm, you don't realize you're doing it. That's just, yeah, I said I was going to do this and I didn't. I let myself down. But, you don't realize that that's actually a big deal.
It
It's a big
is.
deal.
Yeah.
And then you go on this journey, and you that relationship to self becomes like, you never let yourself down.
No. And it becomes easier and easier. That's the thing. Like it can be messy, but once you've got the clarity and you've reached that point, there's no going back.
Yes,
There's no
yes,
going back.
yeah. That's why it's such
Um,
an it's a no-brainer investment to start the journey, because I feel like, with, like, buying a handbag that makes you feel good in the moment, you could lose that handbag. You could, someone could take it from you, but once you can't unknow.
no.
And I think that is just like, I haven't gone back to an old version of myself. I'm always
Mm.
unfolding, becoming more free and more authentic. Amazing. So, Laurence, what support is out there for women? Well, where can women find you?
Well, you can find me on my Instagram because my account is private and there's a reason for that. I'm quite protective of my work and the people who follow me.
Mm,
So it's going to stay private. So if you send me a message saying maybe Cheryl or live, and I'll know that, I'll just add you in. I generally do an energy consultation via video for first-time clients. If you wanted to come and see me for one-to-one session, I massage, aromatherapy, sound healing. I have my Tickle Your Senses aromatherapy workshops,
mm,
which are an immersive experience where stories are shared. It's an opportunity to really open up and listen to your body and to yourself and what it needs. And then we explore essential oils that could support you. And we get to make products. I cook for you. It's a whole day experience, up to 6 hours, where we have an opportunity to share, open up, make, cry, laugh. All of it is in it. And like you've said, Cheryl, there's a lot of magic and power when women get together, and all the workshops are actually like that, very powerful and
mm,
quite unique experiences. So in a
mm.
nutshell, that's where you can find me um, if you wanted to take part. The next workshop theme is soothing the mother wound.
Ah,
So yeah,
I'm really
really,
excited.
yeah, really touching on a lot of things that we've said today, but really going deep from within and
Mm, mm.
and yeah, so yeah.
Fantastic. I've got someone here saying life changing. So, I mean, I'm sold. I'll see you at the next one. I'm looking forward to that. So please, if you're not already, follow Laurence. If you're not already, follow me. You can just need to click on our names and follow. I'm going to be delivering some online workshops, and the one that I've got coming up on Monday the 14th is how to step off the hamster wheel and into the new you. It's an online, it's just an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. So If you click on my name, I'll share details of that workshop. But definitely, I'm really, really excited about the in-person Tickle Your Senses workshop. I feel like that's speaking to me. And yeah, I just want to continue the journey. Honestly, I've just come back from Mexico working with different practitioners, and as soon as you find someone that you resonate with, like that's sacred. You know, the universe has put that person in front of you, and you'll notice there's ease within the relationship. You know, you follow that resonance. It's really, really important, and these are the first steps of building that self-trust, building that connection to self. You know, listen to when your intuition or someone piques your curiosity, because that's information. Follow it up, you know, build the relationship.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you. Pleasure to hear your heart and head spaces tonight. Thank you so much, soul sister. Laurence, it's been a pleasure. This won't be the last time. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna happen for sure.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and maybe see you soon. Take good care.
Thank you. See you. Best
Bye
love.
bye.
Bye. Bye bye.